Good morning or good night, Gacha Kingdom. To the select few of you that understand the title and thumbnail references, I hope that you win your 50-50s because you know ball like nobody else does. Today, though, for everybody else that does not understand the reference, I'm going to be taking the administrator and we're going to be going straight back to Dijung because it's really fucking hot out here, and I'm going to leave the factory work to Tung Tung, Chen, and Perlica, and hopefully when we come back here, the factory is not going to be on fire. So good luck to all three of you. The admin here has recently added a new integrated physical exam that all male operators joining Enfield Industries has to take. That test being the penetration test. We are still trying to figure out what this test is trying to figure out, other than the fact that administrator just wants to get railed, which is totally fair. Okay, yeah, maybe we're gonna have to run through it with Perlica and figure out what's the best name for this skill. But all things said and done, we have been doing research in the back for a couple weeks now, and we're ready to present our conclusions of all the data that we have taken these past few weeks. Starting with category number 1 are operators that have never done this before, have never even heard about, say, Gex before, let alone attempting to penetrate our admin here. And then we had to throw them a book and be like, oh, this is how you put on a candom. Then we had to show them educational videos of how the entire process works and stuff, to Lifeng as a good example. While Lifeng out on the field is very good, he can sling the spear and shit and can do backflips and has been a part of the China Academy and has been hitting up the educational books. He is a star student and everything. We love Lifeng. The problem is that, well, he's not great at talking with people when it comes to actually one-on-ones, and that has led to him not actually landing with anybody in bed. So, when it came to the say Gex educational part, well, we had to educate him quite a bit. I'm currently in talks with Perlica and Zaihi to figure out how to integrate say Gex education within the program so that we can get people in category 1 to at least category 2 so that we can safely do this test without having to hurt the admin. I think we are in safe hands to move from category 1 to category 2, which I would consider complete newbies or novices. Within this category are people that have probably done this at least only once, and people that have never done this at all. However, they are very well aware of the terminologies, say Gex, and also has possibly seen it on video and also maybe barged into somebody's room on accident and went, oops, sorry, and then automatically closed the door behind them. A good example of this category is Antal, with him basically having an obsession with originium technology. He doesn't really have a lot of people skills when it comes to, telling people not one-liners that aren't dad jokes or bad dad jokes at that. So, he does understand and has caught Catcher doing the deed sometimes. However, he himself has never actually done the deed except for when he did his endurance tests for the integrated physical exam, and apparently he's one of the best when it comes to physical endurance. However, when it comes to actually penetration, well, there was a lot to leave desired, let's just say. With more experience, I do believe that Antal could go up to a category 3, maybe even a category 4 with his extremely high endurance. However, according to the research that the admin did with Antal, after finishing in him, Antal told him a dad joke to make him feel better. So, I don't think that's going to be happening anytime soon. Speaking of category 3, this category is labeled as standard. The standard, quote, protocol of the penetration test, according to Mr. Edmund himself. I don't know what that means. I don't know where that Edmund has gotten all this experience from, considering that he's still suffering from amnesia. But maybe the operators hitting his pro gamer state in his bum is helping him regain the memories that he did lose with his amnesia? I have no idea. That's something that Perlica is gonna have to figure out. I'm just here to watch two fictional men have fictional say gex, okay? Example of the standard category is Catcher. Catcher is a perfect all-rounder for doing basically everything other than cooking. His cooking is amazing, and I would rather have Catcher cook than like literally anybody else on the D-Jung right now. Personally, I do think Catcher actually does excel at something, and unironically, it is catching it the other way around, because it seems that not only is he a verse, but he's actually kind of leaning more towards like, being able to take it better than he can actually, give it. But that is something that the exam does not test for. So I guess his entire integrated physical exam stats is just going to say all standard, unless the administrator and Perlica want to add, the receiving end of whatever this penetration skill is going to be called. I will let you know. Category 4 operators are labeled as good. It seems that these people within this category leave the admin in a pleasurable daze for at least an hour before the admin comes to. Example of category 4 is wulfgard, but I personally believe that wulfgard is a category 5. However, it seems that wulfgard still has this preconception that the admin is this fragile porcelain doll that could break any minute. So when it comes to the admin, he goes pretty well gently and slowly, which the admin still likes. And well, from personal experience, let's just say when wulfgard does get pretty rowdy, I feel bad for the admin. He's missing out. So the admin, when it comes to him babying him and stuff like that, that's where he lands in this category number 4. However, if wulfgard can toss aside that he can get rowdy with the admin, I think there would be an argument that he would be level 5. Category 5 operators are labeled as great. These operators seem to hit that perfect pro gamer state that the admin is looking for, and he starts ascending to heaven. It is a bit arguable from this point onwards that people within category 5, 6, and 7 could all be interchanged. However, the difference between 6 and is the fact that people from category 5, once they release into the admin, they typically stop, and that goes for 5 and below. However, everything 6 and 7 afterwards, they can keep going afterwards. So I wanted to make that distinction clear, and that's the reason why we're going to be talking about Dapan being category 5. Unlike wulfgard, Dapan is willing to let loose some steam, because when you work at a hot pot restaurant and people are like, oh my god, I can't believe this ish is spicy, even though it says spicy right there on the menu, ish could get pretty irritating, to say the least. And with consent being the easiest thing that you could ever do, whether it being say gex or straight dex, I can't I don't know. They go wild, and with my experience with Panyin Hu and Dapan essentially just being the same character, and also member character, it seems that the admin had a great time, and with some instant hot pot right then and there on the bed, like that girl on TikTok that starts busting out onto the bed, that type of hot pot, it's a great time, even for me as somebody that was just watching. Category 6 operators are labeled as excellent. These operators are one of the pinnacle of the crop and have the skills and know-how to pleasure the penetration of the penetration test. I just made up a new fucking word. A good example of a category 6 operator is Alesh. Alesh is somebody that you wouldn't assume to be really good at this entire whole say Gex penetration thing, because he's just so aloof. He's just fishing all the time. If he's not fishing, then he's getting up into trouble because he's broke. And then the people that the people that he owes money to, look at how broke he is, they give him even more money, so he's even more broke. But from my years as a JJ gay enjoyer, I have learned that the broke dads are willing to do anything when it comes to money. And I don't think Alesh is a dad, from my understanding. I don't know, he might let me know. But he is broke. And let me tell you, $20? That goes a long way, cuz. And damn howdy, he knows how to use his equipment. I do have a note here from the admin saying that Alesh would be willing to get T credits from anybody that is willing to pay him for his quote-unquote services. So if you in the market for a good man, the market's pretty open in Talos 2. Finally, we have gone to category number 7 of our penetration test. And currently, there is only one operator that stands up at number 7. However, knowing gryphline, maybe that will change. There's going to be more operators in level 7. Ooh, I don't know. Editor banknote currency here, hopping in here to correct cash money. I'm going to be saying pogranichnik a lot. Apparently, it's actually pogranichnik. That is how you pronounce his name, instead of just calling him Pog Man, because I don't know how to pronounce Russian, which me too, I don't know how to pronounce Russian, but I at least try. So I'm sorry, all my Russian fans or people that know Russian. I just wanted dick so bad. And if learning how to actually pronounce his name correctly is one step in that direction of him giving me a chance, I'm gonna take it. Please forgive me. According to what the admin wanted me to tell you verbatim, is that Pogranichnik was the only operator out of this entire penetration test to treat him as a one-on-one. It didn't feel like Pogranichnik was having Saygex with the admin. It felt like he was having Saygex with me. Not like me, I wish. Shit, I really wish. But I'm talking about the admin me. Not only that, but after releasing three times, the both of us went to bed, and in the morning, it seemed that Pogranichnik has some, quote, leftover business, and I decided to wake him up with some action below the mask. Ooh. So, it seemed that the penetration test needs to be reworked so that it's not just only Saygex, but it also involves action behind the mask. Wow, Edmund, I didn't really think of that. I guess that's a good way we can get people from category 1 into 2. We can start off with some action under that mask of yours, and then we can go upwards into Saygex. Oh man, yo, put Perlica, call Perlica right now. I don't think I have anything else to add on the admin's experience with going at it with Pogranichnik. I know that he is an absolute fine of a gem, so if the admin thinks that he is an outstanding candidate to category number 7 example, then I will stand with the admin. And hopefully with this info, Perlica will get this pass with Rhodes Island, and we will have more physical exams going our way. Hypergryph, Rhodes Islands, if you want to send some more help to Talos 2, I don't know if a certain couple of men are still alive, but if they are, you know, I would greatly appreciate the help with this exam specifically.